Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to share with you 10 tips to improve your Guitar Pro workflow. These tips will help you work more efficiently and effectively in Guitar Pro, so you can create better music and save time in the process. Tip number 1 is to learn the keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts can save you a lot of time and make it easier to navigate through Guitar Pro. A couple of examples of some common shortcuts is Control Insert to create a new bar, Control Shift Insert to create a new track, and Control Shift Delete to delete a new track. I've actually made up a template of 50 Guitar Pro shortcuts to save you time. I'll leave a link to it in the description down below and also the pinned comment. And I've also made a video on those 50 Guitar Pro shortcuts, which I'll link up the top here. Tip number 2 is to use templates. Templates can help you get started with your projects faster and provide a consistent starting point for your work. For example, if you write music for a specific number of instruments every single time, like say you're in a band, you can create a template with the 2 guitars, bass and a drums. Once you've got the Guitar Pro document set out how you like with your instruments, you can come up to the top left into File, Save as Template, and then this will allow you to save this as a template. And then next time you go to open Guitar Pro, you can either come to this screen here, File, New from Template, and then your user templates will come up the top here, and they also have a bunch of pre-done templates for you. And you can also manage my templates, and that will bring up your template folder. Tip number 3 is to customize the interface. You can customize the interface to make it more user-friendly and efficient. For example, you can move the toolbars around, adjust the size of the score, adjust the zoom, and you can change the font and colors of things to your liking. So you can go right into detail here. So if we open up the inspector palette over the right hand side and we open up this style sheet, we have all these different options that we can change. So we can change the font of each individual bit of writing. So I'll change the font of this title here. And any custom fonts that you have on your computer will show up in this section here. And then we hit apply, and you can see it changes it automatically straight away. So we've also got text and styles, so we can change how we want the fret numbers to look like and go right into detail here. And you can also set up your custom page stylings, your custom zooms, so it's set up how you like it straight away, so you can just get straight into working. Tip number 4 today is to use the RSE engine wisely. The RSE or Realistic Sound Engine can be resource intensive, so use it only when necessary. If you're working on a large project or using multiple instruments, consider turning off the RSE and turning it back on for final playback or mixing. Another little tip here, if you do find that it is lagging a little bit during your playback, you can go up to Sound and Audio/MIDI settings. And then here in the buffer size, you can change your buffer size, and that usually gets rid of that bit of delay that we have. Tip number 5 is to use layers or tracks. Layers can help you organize your score and make it easier for you to edit. For example, you could create a layer for drums, another for bass, and another for guitar, and switch between them as needed. So I have seen it where people will have their different guitar tracks on a different track. So for example, they'll have all the acoustic parts on their own track and then distortion parts or electric guitar parts on a separate track. This does make it a little bit easier to mix, and it's kind of set up how you would set it up in a recording session. But personally, when I'm writing music in here, I prefer to just use the sound annotations and just switch. So I'll set up a second sound in here for like the acoustic sound, and then I'll just switch between them, almost like a guitar pedal. If you're new to Guitar Pro, you can get a free 7-day trial of Guitar Pro from their website here. I'll leave a link in the description down below and also the pinned comment. Existing Guitar Pro users will also get a special discount from this code if you're upgrading from a previous version to the new version Guitar Pro 8. So make sure you check out that link in the description below or the comment below and pick up your free trial of Guitar Pro or a discounted upgrade. Tip number 6 is to use sections, especially in bigger songs. So to create a section, we can either use the shortcut Shift Insert, and that will bring up this section dialog box. And then we can either label it with a letter or we can just name it whatever we want. So we'll leave this as intro. And you see now it will come up here, and now we can just double click on intro and it will bring up this dialog again. You can also add a section on this window down here. If we go to the bottom of it, when this little grey box is highlighted, we can right click and insert a section, and then we'll just label this B, and now that will come up the top of the bar there. This is handy if you want to practice a specific song, or if you're sharing your music with other people, you can tell them to go to this specific section, and you can easily navigate to different sections within the songs either by coming down the bottom here and clicking on each individual section, or we can go up the top section and then all our different sections will be labeled down here. And as you can see, we can use the shortcut Control Alt left or right to skip between the two. Tip number 7 is to use the mixer. The mixer allows you to adjust the volume and panning of individual tracks, which can help you create a more balanced mix, which just helps you either play better or you can hear the individual parts better. For example, you could separate different guitar tracks to left and right, and then you'll get a bit more separation and spacious of a sound. So down in this mixing window here, we have this visibility, so we can turn this on or off, and that will tell us which track we're on. We can mute individual tracks, solo individual tracks. We have our volume. We have volume automation, a panning automation, and an EQ. And this knob down here next to the master track will be the focus or unfocused current track. So what this does is this will just raise the volume of the track that we're currently highlighted on here, so you can hear that track more or less depending on which way you turn the knob. So I'll just play you a little section from one of my songs here, and we'll move this knob up and down so you can hear the difference. To the point where all you can hear is that track. Tip number 8 is to use annotations. Annotations allow you to add notes, comments, and reminders to your score. For example, you could add an annotation to remind yourself to add a solo section later on in the song. So it's kind of similar to sections, except you won't be able to just skip around to each one. It's kind of like a little note to yourself. So if we wanted to put one over bar 2 here, we can just press T and it will bring up this free text, and then we can just type in, and then that will come up at the top there for you. So again, this is handy for either yourself when you're writing and you want to come back to something, or if you're in a band and you're sharing Guitar Pro files around, if you want to leave a comment or a note for your fellow band members so they know what to do in that section. Tip number 9 is to use the chord library. The chord library can help you find the right chords quickly and easily. For example, you could search for a major chord and add it to your score with just a few clicks. So to bring up the chord diagram, we just press A on our keyboard, and this will bring up the chord box over here. So there's a couple of ways we can use this. So we can create our own chords. If we go tonality, say we wanted a C major chord, and then the type here, and that will show us the C major chord in the open position. And down here it also gives us multiple variations or alternatives different ways of playing the C major chord. This can be a great way to spark a bit of inspiration with your writing and just get you playing in different positions. So we could also, in our type here, we have major, minor, augmented, diminished, and all our 7 sus chords and such. And then extensions, we have our add 9s, add 11s. So if we were happy with this chord and wanted to add it into our score, you can just press enter or hit OK. And that's going to add it in there for us, and it will also bring up the chord diagram up the top here, which we can click on and then edit. Another use for this is if we have written chords into our song but don't have the chord diagram or such, or someone else has written it and we want to know what chord it is. So we go onto the chord here and press A. It will bring up the chord diagram box and tell us which chord it is. And then if we wanted the chord diagram up the top, we can just press OK or enter, and up the top it goes. Tip number 10 is to practice regularly. Practice regularly with Guitar Pro to improve your skills and familiarize yourself with the program's features. The more you use it, the more comfortable and efficient you'll become. My next tip for today is to check out this video over here, and I'll see you in the next video.